Hello, everybody. New Year. Happy New Year. Hope you had a wonderful holiday season. And I'm back. Had a great year, end of the year. And I'm back to, back to the real world again. I'm looking forward to today's session. And essentially, it's a new year. So, how do we set goals? How do we smash and achieve our realistic goals, our financial independence goals, and all that kind of stuff? So that's the focus of today. And again, I hope that 2023 was a good year for you. On reflection, it was a pretty good year for me. I accomplished a lot of things, both real estate wise. I didn't have many vacancies, turnovers. So all my properties were pretty much occupied throughout the entire year. I started a new JV, a wealth builders program, and it's slightly different than the previous JV Wealth Builders program. This is a new one. It's focused on execution. So we did a pilot study, a pilot case, and we have Femi going through right now. It's working out real well. I'm looking forward to the next one. Another student is going to be hopefully buying their next house at the end of this month, January. So that's going well. I did a lot of travel. I traveled 5 countries last year. So my goal was 3. I did 5, so that I exceeded those. I lost some weight, and so health-wise, I was trying to take care of my health. Exercise a lot more. I try to exercise at least 5 days a week, so I did that. Financial goals were pretty much intact and met. I was able to help a lot of my tenants in various ways, so that those goals were met. Family wise, that was good. Pretty much kept in touch with my family, both here and overseas. And hopefully, I'll be visiting the ones overseas this year. I'll go to Ghana hopefully sometime in February. So it was, on reflection, a pretty good year. Obviously, there's some disappointments, but that's life. But for the most part, it was a good year. Hopefully, it was for you. Feel free to share your goals, your accomplishments for 2023, and as we move into 2024, I hope that 2024 is going to be a great year for you, and you achieve whatever it is that you want to attain, whether it be personal, professional, career wise, health wise, financial wise, whatever it is. Let's start the year off well, and let's get this show on the road, as they say. So let's get the show on the road. Let's have a look. So new year, new wealth, setting and smashing your real estate goals. So I suppose the issue is, what does it take? What does it take to set and achieve real estate investment goals in the new year 2024? What does it take? As the calendar turns to 2024, the landscape is really, it's evolving. It's changed a lot. It's changing rapidly post pandemic, and therefore it's really important to understand and set realistic goals in the environment, not just to for the sake of doing goals, but really careful planning. And it's not easy to set good goals, and it requires informed decisions making. And the environment is changing, housing demand is changing. There's a rise of remote work. People are working away from the office, and it doesn't seem like a whole lot of effort to go back. So I think the remote working, Zoom, and all that kind of stuff is pretty much here to stay for a lot of people. And I think there's a shift in the market from urban to suburban in some markets. So that's changing. So obviously those changes are going to affect property values, and it's also going to affect rental yields, your return on your investments for your rental properties. So really, if you're going to set goals, then you have to look at the bigger picture, which is the macroeconomic, kind of factors, and also some of the micro level or local factors as well, because you need to align your financial goals with the market trends, what's going on currently, regulatory changes. There are changes going on, both in terms of investments, landlord tenant and zone in and a whole bunch of different things, and also your financial capabilities. What's your ability to purchase and grow, your investment portfolio? These things are going to affect the kind of goals that you're going to set for 2024. So it's not just a matter of picking the right properties, but also timing, your purchases, the long-term projections for your investments, and also potentially, getting ready for market shifts as they come on. And also, the big thing is the role of technology. Technology is just going crazy. AI and all that kind of stuff. It's wild. It's exciting. You can definitely do a lot now, leveraging technology that you couldn't do a few years ago. Things like market analysis, AI for property management, also AI for investment tracking your portfolio, for tracking your investments, and so on. I mean, it's great technology. I think as savvy investors, we really do need to get our arms and hands around technology and leverage it to our benefit. So it's really important to embrace technology. It is what it is. It's staying, and also being able to be adaptable to the changing environment. So let's get down into the weeds a little bit and talk about some of these things. And I'll break it down to 6 parts. So number one, in terms of helping you set your goals, is really to understand the market. What's going on in the market. So the question is, how can investors accurately understand and interpret current real estate market trends? Because those interpretation of what's going on locally, nationally, globally is going to affect your ability to acquire properties. It's also going to have an impact on the kind of goals that you're going to be setting. Interest rates are going higher. Well, it's kind of going down now. It was pretty high earlier on, but it seems to be leveled off, and if anything, going down now. So to navigate the 2024 environment, you need to understand both the macro or the global issues, and also some of the local market issues. So, on the macro level, you got to understand the broader economic trends, like inflation. Inflation, I think they say it's going down. I think the Fed wants it to be less than or around 2%. I think it's above that, 3 point something, I think. But it's coming down. Also, interest rates. That obviously has a huge impact on real estate. And employment statistics is, real estate is very localized, and it's impacted by the local economy wherever your property is. So if the economy is doing well, then people, which means that there's hiring going on. People want to move there because there are jobs. If the economy is tanking, then people are going to leave to go to places where there are jobs are. So, which means that there's a declining population, which means that there's less demand for real estate, which means it's going to impact on your investment properties. So, yeah, the local economy is very, very important, or the local dynamics and things like GDP, how's the economy overall going? So, I mean, these are macro level, factors. On the local level, things like what's going on locally in terms of your neighborhoods. Is there much neighborhood development going on? What are some of the market conditions taking place locally? Are people moving in, moving out of different neighborhoods? These are more of a micro level. Things like, is there economic development taking place, locally, or not? So these are some of the local and macro level factors that you may want to consider as you develop your real estate investment goals. If your economy is going up where you are, then it means that it's a good place to buy, because over time there's a good chance that as people move in, there's going to be increased demand, which means that hopefully there's going to be increased demand for local real estate, which means prices will go up and rents will go up and things like that. So stay informed, be proactive, review regularly local real estate publications. If you can, attend industry events and network with other professionals, because they can share with you what's going on in your local area. So utilize analytical tools out there. There's quite a few of them. Bigger Pockets has a bunch of them. There's quite a few AI related tools out there, and to study market trends, what's going on, and also potential investment opportunities. So, what are some of the action items coming from this understanding the market related factors? Things like regular review economic data. I know it can be a little bit boring, but you do need to know. You can't, bury your hand in the sand about what's going on locally, on a macro level in terms of economic, because it's going to impact your investments. If you can attend seminars and networking with other like-minded people, industry events. If you can, you don't have to travel out of state. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff going on locally wherever you are, and utilize some of these real estate analytic tools out there, especially AI related ones, that can help you identify potential opportunities. So that's number one, in terms of factoring. These are some of the factors that's going to impact your ability or the goals that you're going to set in 2024. So let's talk about goals setting specifically for success. Goal setting for success. I'm really into goals. I do weekly goals, daily goals, yearly goals, 5-yearly goals. I do. It's really important because it gives me a sense of direction. It gives me a sense of knowing, what am I trying to strive for? What am I going for? And it's almost like a beacon, in a light, like a lighthouse, I suppose. You can see where you're going, and you can therefore develop milestones. I've just had a habit of developing goals for a long time, at least 15, 20 years. And so, every day, once after I've done my workout exercise, once I kind of settle down, I try to set my daily goals and review my daily goals in context of the weekly goals. That's what I do. It's a habit, and I'm sticking to it. So anyway, goal setting. So the question then becomes is what are the key considerations in setting an achievable real estate goal? Well, the goal should be achievable. It should be realistic, not pie in the sky. Sounds good, but there's no way you're going to actually achieve it. So it's got to be realistic. And but effective goal setting is really, in terms of real estate investing, it's really, really a critical step in ensuring your success. It kind of begins with a self-assessment. Consider where you are right now. What's your financial position? What's your risk tolerance? That's the important thing. What's your long-term objectives? Where do you want to be a year, 5 years, 10 years from now? And these things come into play when we develop what we call SMART, SMART level, goals. I think you may have heard the term SMART, and that stands for specific. That's where the S comes in. Measurable. That's where the M comes in. Achievable. That's where the A comes in. Relatable. Relevant, I suppose. And time bound. So the idea is that the goals that you set should be specific. It should be measurable. It should be achievable. It should be relevant. And also it should have some context to time. So it really does provide you a clear roadmap for your investment journey. So if you're going to do goals, if you're going to take the time to set goals, then try and make them specific. Don't make it vague, like I want to get into real estate investment. That doesn't really mean a whole lot to anything. I think it should be more specific, like I want to acquire 2 properties this year in Washington, D.C., or in Phoenix, or in St. Louis, or wherever you are. I want to buy 2 properties this year in 2024 with a net yield of X number of percent in terms of the return, and also I want to do that within the 12 months. So that goal is specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, hopefully. It's relevant. It's got some time context to it. So rather than just saying I want to buy a house or I want to get into real estate investment in 2024, what we're saying is that I want to acquire 2 properties in Washington, D.C., or in zip code ABC or whatever it is, with a net yield of this and in this time frame. Understanding that your investment. So hopefully you get that. I mean, setting goals can be a little bit painful. It's very intimidating because it's scary. I mean, you're thinking about yourself in the direction you're going, and it's a very I don't know. It's a very humbling experience when you actually put pen to paper. Well, not pen anymore. A laptop to paper or keyboard to paper or keyboard to key. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. So the idea is that it's a very it's an interesting process, and but it's definitely worthwhile. You may have to complete several settings, especially if you're not used to doing something like this. But it's important to align your real estate goals with your broader financial goals or financial plans, such as retirement and whether you want to build wealth. And so that way, it's all sort of holistic. I like financial goals, career goals, health goals, social goals, physical goals. You put them all in the context of that, and that way you're not you're not out of balance. You try to get balanced. You have some context in your life. You live a more holistic life. So don't just focus on the financial goals, but I think you also need to consider developing goals in other areas of your life. Your career, your health, your social and emotional goals, and things like that. But it should be realistic. That's the key. Don't make it too out of pie in the sky, and and don't make it too too unrealistic. I mean, I can't think of another word. Where it becomes that I can't do it, and therefore you kind of throw your head or throw your hands in the air and just say, I'm not doing it. And I know that I'm a member of Planet Fitness, for example, and I think typically, the next week or two, everybody's going to go to the gym because everybody has physical goals, which is to increase my health, to exercise more, to lose weight. And so these clubs get jam packed, during this month. And then come February, March, it kind of goes back to normal because everybody kind of moved on from, the real world. Because achieving goals is hard work. It's a lot of effort. It takes discipline. It takes action. And a lot of people just aren't going to do it. Same thing in real estate. A lot of people want to buy properties. They want to invest in real estate. It takes hard work. That's all there is to it. It takes hard work. It takes effort. It takes a commitment. It takes money. It takes an education. It takes systems. It takes relationships. It establish a team. You got to get, there's a whole lot of stuff associated with executing real estate. And, and once people understand that, they just move on to something else. Maybe, I don't know, do Amway or do Amazon or something, which they think it's easier. And then they start that, and then they find out that's also hard work. And so they go off to do something else. So it's whatever you do is hard work. That's all there is to it. And so what are the action items associated with goal setting? I think it's conduct a self-assessment of your financial situation, where you are right now, and also your risk tolerance level. Set SMART goals, that align with your broader financial goals or financial plans, and regularly review and adjust these goals as the market conditions change and your personal situation and circumstances change as well. So that's number 2. That will help you as you formulate your goals for 2024. The other thing is financial planning and management. I think that's really important, as you develop your goals and smash your goals for 2024. Why? What do I mean by that? So the question becomes, how can investors effectively plan and manage their finances for real estate investment? The assumption is that, you're going to have to have some money if you want to buy real estate. I mean, I know that there are some gurus out there who say you don't need any money. The seller's going to come up with all the money, and you don't need anything. That may be true, but in the real world, that doesn't happen very often. It does happen every now and then, but not very often. So, assuming it's not going to happen too often, then you're going to have to plan, and manage your finances if you want to acquire real estate. One of the things is that your housing costs are just so high nowadays that unless you can drive that cost down, it's just very, very hard to save money. So sound financial planning, I think I was speaking to somebody about that a couple of days ago, and about house hacking. If it was yesterday, I was speaking to somebody. The importance of driving your costs down. And they were open to house hacking, where they would buy a house. Part of that space is rented out, and they will live in the other parts of the house, and therefore they can save money, which will then allow them to buy the next house and the next house and so forth. And then that's what I did. That's what I highly recommend, and so on. So sound financial planning is really the cornerstone of successful real estate investing. This involves a clear understanding of your, how much money you're going to need, and how much money you need, your what we call financial capacity. How much can you raise? But also, it's important that you manage your expenses and cash flow, because that's important. Effective budgeting is crucial. You've got to know where your flow of income going in and out. You can't just spend money and not worry about it. You've got to budget. Not necessarily the traditional way of budgeting, but you need to know the inflows and outflows of your money, and track that if possible. There's a lot of tools out there that can help you track that. And also, if you own real estate, you should understand your true cost. I know that I always say the biggest expense that you're going to have as a property owner is what we call turnover and vacancy costs. If you can't drive that down, you don't make a whole lot of money. So you need to know where the money is going in, where it's going out, and focus your attention to hopefully, drive some of those costs and expenses down. There are obviously different financing options that you have. You can get residential financing, commercial financing, hard money financing, private money financing. There's lots of different financing options available to you, so that you need to consider as well in terms of your financial planning and management. And you need to have liquidity. You've got to have some money left over. And that's why I'm saying you've got to drive your housing costs and other expenses down, because that will then allow you to save money, build up some reserves, and hopefully be able to use that money to buy more houses. Maintain a cash reserve, or at least access to reserves or funds, is really important, either through home equity lines of credit cards, and those vehicles. And but keeping track of your investment performance is very important, and because it's going to allow you to make what I call better informed decisions. So what are the action items associated with this? Create a comprehensive budget. Let's have a look. What are the action items associated with planning, financial planning and management? Create a budget. Of the inflows and outflows. Explore and understand your financing options available to you. Maintain liquidity and track the performance of your investment portfolio. And then that's up to 3 so far. But if you got some questions, we're going to go down to the Q&A session in about 5 or 10 minutes. So if you got some questions for me, please put them in the chat box, and I will answer them in about 5 to 10 minutes. So put them over there. We always have a lot of questions. So get your questions lined up and try to pick my brain and all that kind of stuff. So number 4, risk management. That's also going to be very important as you develop your goals for 2024. Not just management, but mitigation, i.e. try to limit your risk and exposure. So the question becomes, what strategies can investors like you and I employ to manage and mitigate risk as we continue our real estate investment journey? So what can we do? Obviously, real estate investing involves risk. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. Anything that you do with money involves some level of risk. Real estate is no exception. Managing risk, though, is really essential for your long-term success. There are different ways to do that. I like to do due diligence before I buy a house. I like to check things out, check the house, check the property, check the neighborhood. Is this the kind of property that if I buy, I can attract the kind of tenants I'm looking for? Do some due diligence on the owner, on the property, on the tenants. If you're inheriting tenants, there's a lot of things you can do to mitigate risk when you acquire property. Another way that some people do is to spread their risk over, properties over different areas geographically, and also other investment classifications like multifamily or commercial, in addition to residential. Some people like to do that. I like to just focus on single families, as you know. I don't try to get too caught up in the other things. And I just buy in the Washington, D.C. area. I know this market. But, again, there's different ways whereby you can sort of mitigate or reduce your risk as it pertains to real estate investing. But the key one, in my opinion, is just do your due diligence before you buy a house or before you buy any, making any investments. Researching the property, understanding the local market, and assessing the environmental environment where the property is, and also some of the legal issues, like especially landlord tenant laws and things like that. So it's really important to mitigate risk, reduce risk, know what you're getting into before you actually hand over the money. And so to a certain extent, it's good to have a good team around you, things like lawyers, accountants, real estate agents, because these folks can help you navigate the complexities associated with real estate investing, and therefore hopefully they can help you reduce and minimize risk. You can't, insurance is also another good way to mitigate risk. It's always good to have adequate coverage, and either on your property individually, on your investment vehicles. It's always good to have insurance if you can, because if the worst case scenario happens, hopefully it's not going to take you down and take you out. So any catastrophic activities can wipe you out if you don't have the right insurance coverage. So what are some of the action items associated with mitigating risk? Things like, what do I say here? I think it's like diversify your investments, do your due diligence, conduct due diligence, and also stay informed about what's going on locally and also regulatory. Make sure you have adequate insurance if you were to buy real estate. Number 5, leveraging technology. I kind of alluded to that earlier on. Technology is going crazy. AI, ChatGPT. I'm playing around with ChatGPT 4 now. It's amazing what it can do. It's just unbelievable. And I think if you don't leverage technology, you're kind of missing out, because there's so much that you can do now that you couldn't do earlier on a few years ago. So how can modern technology be utilized to enhance real estate investment strategies? That's the issue, is how can we use technology to help us and enhance our investment strategies as we develop our goals for 2024. So I said technology's got an integral part of real estate investing now. It's providing tools that can really enhance almost every aspect of real estate investment process. Things like property management software nowadays, can streamline management of your investment vehicles, your rental properties. It can track rental payments. It can schedule maintenance. There's a lot of things you can do with property management software now. There's also data analytic tools out there that can provide you with insights into things like market trends, property values, investment opportunities. There are lots of online platforms out there that you can use to analyze properties. And technology like virtual tours now, you can literally walk through a house without actually going there. There are lots of different online marketplaces out there. Technology just essentially made it easier to find and assess properties, analyze properties, even if you're far away. So you could be buying stuff on the other side of town, other side of the state, or even the other side of the country. You can access to really, really quality information that a few years ago you just couldn't access. So staying up to tune is staying up. And it's also social media, I think, is really good here in terms of your ability to network with other like-minded people and connecting with other investors, industry professionals, and also potential tenants. So staying up to date is really important, and there are tools out there that you can leverage as you develop your goals for 2024. So the question becomes, the action item, I suppose, in terms of technology. Things like utilize, technology, property management software to efficiently manage your rental portfolio, leverage data analytics if you can for market research and investment decision making, and stay informed about technology. So, and finally, I want to talk about this thing here is setbacks. it's really important because we're all going to have some setbacks. It's a tough world out here. It's not always easy sailing, and I think that you may have had some setbacks in 2023, but it is what it is. But the issue then becomes, how do you handle setbacks? Understanding what went wrong, analyzing market conditions, analyzing decisions that you took, reassessing strategies that you took place, and identifying, if you need more education. It's really good to reflect on what went right, what went wrong, and what did you learn from that. Because it's not nice to have setbacks, but it's part of life. But it's how you how do you act, how do you respond to these setbacks? I think that's the key. And learn from other people, get mentors, get guides, get coaches, because hopefully these folks have made those mistakes, and they can help you avoid making those mistakes as well. And it's a changing environment, and there are people out there who have a better idea what's going on than others. And then finally, let's kind of wrap this thing up for today. In conclusion for today's session is that achieving 2024 goals is not going to be easy. It's a combination of informed goal setting, effective financial planning, risk management, and also leveraging technology. I think if you can do all those different things, you can set yourself some really, really good goals for 2024 and have a mechanism to track how you're doing. Learn from your experiences in the past and setbacks that you've had in the past. And as you proceed and move forward in 2024, so stay adaptable, continuously educate yourself, be willing to embrace new tools and new technologies. And it's a dynamic world out there. It's changing fast. So hopefully I provide you a comprehensive framework as you develop your goals for 2024. It's going to be an exciting year. It's going to be a lot of opportunities. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be some setbacks and challenges you're going to face, but working together, hopefully I can help you on your journey. I'll be doing this Wealth Wednesday every week. I'll be doing some traveling this year. My goal is to 3 countries. I think I've already got an idea which countries it's going to be. But last year I did 5. So hopefully this year I'll be able to do, more than 5. But I've set my target as 3, and we'll see. And it's going to be a great year. Looking forward to it. I'm excited. And hopefully I can help you on your journey. So please tune in to Wealth Wednesdays. Spread the word. Let other people know that if they want to pick my brain every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time is where they can do that. So let's, with that said and done, if you got some questions, please put them in the chat box, and I'll try to answer them in a few minutes. And if you got any questions you want to shoot me, or if you want to reach out to me, you can reach me at joe@joeasamoah.com, joe@joeasamoah.com. So that's it done, my friends. Let's get down to the comments, and let's see who has. Let's have a look. Janitor on fire. Oh gosh, who's that? I hope you're doing well, Janitor on fire. And greetings from Phoenix. Hey, Dr. How you doing? Happy New Year, Dr. Joe. Wishing you many blessings in 2024. Thank you, Dr. You're a regular, and hopefully, we can do some business this year. Millicent from Pong, that's a Ghanaian name. If ever there is one. I hope you're doing well, Millicent. And let's have a look. Marlon, hey Marlon, happy New Year, Doctor. Hope all is well. Great talking with you yesterday, and look forward to working with you in 2024. It's gonna be a great year. It's not gonna be easy. Set your goals. Let's just get on with it, Marlon. Let's get some deals wrapped up, and so again, commiserations on or condolences to some of the family members that passed away or having some health challenges. So hopefully everything's going to work out for them, and hopefully everything's going to work out for you and your family as well. Who's this? Miss. I don't know who this is. Miss. Hi, Miss. Thank you. Okay, you're welcome. Dow 2. In a previous Wealth Wednesday, you mentioned one of your properties had become vacant. Did you make a decision on about what to do with it? Yes, I think I'm going to sell that property. It's in Washington, D.C. I've owned it for about 10 years. The tenant just recently left about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And, it's in a good area. There's been quite a bit of appreciation taking place on that property. There's quite a bit of equity there. So I've decided that most of the time I tend to keep my properties, but for this one, I'm leaning towards selling this property. And so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Who knows, if you're in the local area, maybe I'll do an event there, and so you can see one of my properties, and then we can network and talk about it. But yeah, that's why I'm kind of leaning towards selling this property. I mean, at some point you have to enjoy the fruits of your labor, as they say. And so maybe it's time to enjoy some of the fruits on this particular one. I had a tenant. The gist of it is that I bought this house about 10 years ago, fixed it up at the time, and we put a tenant in there. The tenant was in there for 9.5 years, one tenant. And so she recently left. And so she was a good tenant. She took care of the property. And now that she's left, we decided to fix it up. I put a new kitchen in there. What else was a new kitchen? Yeah, well, we kind of redid the kitchen, repainted the house, put some new floor in there, and kind of spruced it up a little bit. And so I think the contractor is wrapping things up this week. So I'm kind of leaning towards waiting a few weeks, maybe a month or two, until the market, transitions to the early spring season, and then I could sell there. I could put it on the market around that time. So that's why I'm leaning down to. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay, Zachary Fisher. Hi, Zach. Have you had to deal with DC's new rent determination tool for housing? Yes, I have. So what Zach's referring to is that DC for rentals for Section 8, they used to go by neighborhood model, i.e. the rents that you would well, let's just step back. Many years ago when I first started, DCHA, DC Housing Authority, they started off whereby the rents would be the same across the city. So if you had a 3-bedroom, let's just say in neighborhood A, Georgetown, Capitol Hill, whatever, that will be the same rent as a 3-bedroom in neighborhood D or E. And so investors being investors, they would buy the cheapest part of town so they can get maximum cash flow. And so there'll be a concentration of voucher holders in certain parts of the town, usually the poorer part of the town, and because that's where the investors made the maximum cash flow. Anyway, so DCHA changed that model about maybe 10 years ago to the neighborhood model, whereby they raised the rents in certain neighborhoods where they wanted more voucher holders to go. So they had that model until July of this year, or last year, I suppose. Then they changed it to a new model, which is what Zach's referring to, a new rent determination model. So I have a pretty good idea how it works. I think I've taken the time to understand it. I've spoken to people at DCHA to kind of give me a better perspective of it. So I have a pretty good idea how it works. There are definitely winners and losers in this new environment. Obviously, my goal is to help you become a winner as opposed to a loser. And there are ways to win. It's no different than when if they change the rules of a game. Savvy people step back, understand the rules before they get back onto the court. So it's the same thing here. Savvy investors are going to take time to understand the new rules and then play the game accordingly. So that's what savvy people do. That's what hopefully you're doing, Zach. But yeah, I'm familiar with the tool. There's a website you can go to, affordablehousing.com, where you can plug in your address and your number of bedrooms, and it'll spit out some what's it called, data. But yeah, there's a data that we see, i.e. on the public side. There's also data that's behind the firewall that only the housing authority sees. So what you see is not always the full picture. So it's a little bit complicated, but I'll be more than happy if you want to reach out to me. We can talk about it in more detail. Okay, what do you say next? Zach again. Zach says, have you had to deal with DCs? Yes. I mean, I think I've just answered that question. So hopefully I answered your question, Zach. But essentially, yes, I'm familiar with that tool, and it's okay. It's okay. Dow 2, would you do a 1031 exchange? No, I'll probably just sell it, pay the taxes and just keep on rolling, just pocket the money. I'm not going to do a 1031, I don't think, on this particular property. I just want to cash out. I want to enjoy some of this money. It's quite a bit of equity. I mean, DC in the last 10 years has increased in value a lot in some of these neighborhoods. So I mean, I have a lot of properties. I don't think I need any more. But I'm not going to 1031 into additional properties. I don't think so anyway. Well, we'll see. Again, if you got some questions, please put them in the chat box and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'm just going to wrap it up for today. And so that way I can enjoy my day, enjoy my evening, and spend time with the family and so on. So, yeah, so hopefully, today's session was helpful. It's going to be a great year, as I said before. I'm excited by the opportunities that's out there. It's not going to be easy. The market is shifting. What used to work a few years ago doesn't necessarily work anymore. And so we have to shift and change our strategies accordingly. And hopefully, you'll be a winner in all this stuff. I mean, real estate is, from my perspective, is a long-term play. In the short term, we go through a lot of ups and downs, but over the long haul, it tends to work out okay. And so I'm trying to encourage you to take real estate very seriously and get into a mode whereby you can execute, as opposed to just consuming content, and never actually doing anything. I think it's time to execute. And so let's execute. Let's get on with it. Let's get the show on the road. And let's strive for financial independence. So that said and done, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up for today. I hope today was helpful. Don't forget to set your goals. And it's going to be a great year. And, but it's only good if you actually do something. You're going to have to take some action. Because if you don't take action, we'll be having this conversation a year from now. And you'll be talking about, well, I'm going to be buying my first house or next house. At some point, you've got to pull the trigger, make it happen. So hopefully I can help you, encourage you on this journey. And hopefully you had a great session today. I'm excited for 2024. I wish you the best. And I will speak to you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Take care, guys. Bye for now.